The first round of the 2026 NBA playoffs is almost done, and it has already broken the script. Superstars are hurt, a 41-year-old is dragging a roster to round 2. A first overall pick just dropped 45 and his team is still on the brink. And the team that should scare everyone has barely had to break a sweat. Today, I'm ranking the 5 storylines that will actually define this second round. Let's get into it. At number 5, the number 1 overall pick duel between Cunningham and Paolo Banchero. This is the most underrated subplot in the entire postseason. Cunningham, the number 1 pick in 2021, just dropped 45 points in Game 5 to keep the top-seeded Pistons alive against the 8-seed Magic. It was a Pistons franchise playoff record, breaking a mark Dave Bing set back in 1968. Then Paolo Banchero, the number 1 pick in 2022, matched him point for point. 45 points of his own. 2 former number 1 picks going basket for basket in a Game 5 that could have ended the season for the East's top seed. Detroit still trails 3-2. If the Magic close it out at home, this becomes only the 7th time in NBA history that an 8 seed has knocked off a 1 seed. If you're enjoying the breakdown, hit that like button. It really does help the channel. Either way, this is a head-to-head star duel that's going to shape what we say about both of these guys for the next decade. Whoever wins the series owns the narrative. Whoever doesn't has a 45-point game that meant nothing. At number 4, Victor Wembanyama announcing himself. The Spurs already advanced. They beat Portland in 5 games. It's the first playoff series win in San Antonio since 2017, and the first of Wemby's career, and his numbers in this series have been ridiculous. 35 points and 5 threes in his playoff debut, setting a Spurs franchise record for points in a debut and breaking a record previously held by Tim Duncan. He missed Game 3 with a concussion. Then in Game 4, he dropped 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 blocks. ESPN reported he's just the 3rd player since 1973 to average 20 points and 4 blocks in his first 4 career playoff games. He just won Defensive Player of the Year unanimously. The youngest player ever to win it and the first unanimous winner in league history. He's 22 years old, and now he's heading into a second-round series where he might finally get tested. If Wemby keeps playing like this, the conversation about who the next face of the league is changes overnight. At number 3, the Anthony Edwards injury that just blew up the entire Western Conference. Edwards hyperextended his left knee in Game 4 against Denver. He elevated to challenge Cam Johnson at the rim, came down with his leg locked up, and immediately fell to the ground, unable to put weight on it. The MRI came back with no structural damage, but Minnesota officially listed him as week to week. That means Edwards is probably going to miss most, if not all, of Minnesota's second-round series. And in the same game, the Wolves also lost starting guard Dante DiVincenzo to a torn Achilles, which ends his season, and likely most of next season too. So now Minnesota is holding on to a 3-2 series lead over Denver, heading into Game 6 with their 2 best perimeter players unavailable. If they advance, they play San Antonio. A series where the biggest storyline was supposed to be Ant Edwards versus Wemby is now a series where Ant might not even play. Which storyline do you think is going to be the biggest one heading into the second round? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear it. The injury isn't just damaging for Minnesota. It rips a major attraction out of the entire Western Conference race. At number 2, the Lakers turning into the team nobody wants to play. This is the most unbelievable storyline of the first round, and it's barely getting talked about. Luka Doncic has not played a single game in this series. He's been out since April 2nd with a hamstring strain. Austin Reeves missed the first 4 games of this series with an oblique injury. So for most of the first round, the Lakers' best player has been a 41-year-old LeBron James. And they took a 3-0 series lead. LeBron is averaging over 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Marcus Smart is averaging 17 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Luke Kennard is averaging close to 18 points and shooting 45% from 3. Houston has clawed back to 3-2 after Reeves returned, but the Lakers are still 1 win from advancing. Now here's the part that should scare the rest of the West. Luka Doncic is reportedly trending toward a return early in the second round. According to Shams Charania, Doncic is targeting an early May return. possibly in time for games 1 or 2 of a potential series against the defending champs. So the Lakers go from the team without their 2 best players to the team that gets Luka back against OKC. That is a different team entirely. If LeBron is dragging this version of the Lakers into the second round, what does the team look like when their actual best player walks through the door? And at number 1, Oklahoma City, reminding everyone they're the defending champs. The Thunder swept Phoenix 4-0. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 42 in Game 3. The series was never close. Here's what stands out. OKC was the number 1 offense and the number 1 defense in the first round. Not one of, the number 1 in both. They're rested. They have home court for the entire postseason. They locked up the number 1 seed in the West for the 3rd year in a row, and they're the first team ever to win back-to-back Maurice Podoloff trophies for the league's best record. SGA is the heavy favorite to win MVP for the 2nd straight year. And every other contender in the West is dealing with something. Lakers waiting on Luka, Wolves missing Edwards. Spurs are young and untested at this level. Nuggets are limping. Whoever comes out of the West has to go through a Thunder team that has not been seriously challenged yet. The biggest storyline of the second round isn't whether OKC wins. It's whether anybody in the entire Western Conference can make it competitive. That's 5 storylines, and the second round hasn't even tipped off yet. If you want more breakdowns like this as the playoffs keep unfolding, subscribe to Rim Logic. New videos every Monday and Friday. Appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you next time.